Hey, Bobby Manning here. Welcome to a news edition of the Garden Report. Bad news for the Celtics as training camp gets started. A week from today, Robert Williams III is expected to undergo a arthroscopic surgery on his left knee, the same one where he had a meniscus removal surgery back in March. He was able to return from that in roughly 3-ish weeks, come back for the postseason, suffer a bone bruise during round 2 that forced him to miss some time in the second round against the Bucks, and he played limited for much of the postseason through the NBA Finals with swelling, pain, and restricted movement, 3 things that plagued him and made it difficult for him to move in certain games. It definitely didn't look like himself throughout that run, gutted through it. The expectation was that playing through that postseason run wasn't going to put him at risk long term. And now my understanding is that he suffered a small tear that this surgery this week is planning to address. Not exactly sure the nature of it yet. Still seems to be a developing story for the team as well at this point, so I'm sure we'll hear more once training camp gets underway next week. 4 weeks from today, Adrian Wojnarowski reporting that the outlook on this is 4 to 6 weeks. Opening day 4 weeks away from today as we record this on Tuesday. At 76ers, almost certain that Rob is going to be out for that game and for the early portion of that season if it does end up reaching the 6-week mark, which no reason to push him back through the opening sequences of the season there, particularly with much higher aspirations. For this team, ahead of them is NBA title favorites in some circles. The situation on the roster right now, Al Horford, of course, moves to the 5 with Rob absent. Starting lineup-wise, I would expect it to depend on the night. Wouldn't be stunning for me to see Malcolm Brogdon move into that lineup for some additional playmaking, versatility, shooting, as well as wing defense in the absence of Rob there. Leave Grant Williams on the bench in a role where he can play against some 5s in certain matchups off the bench. And then, of course, you have Luke Cornett on the roster, who they had already been high on as a backup 5 with Rob in place. That's going to create a real test for him early this season. If he, of course, has a $300,000 guarantee that becomes just over $1 million on opening night, I would expect him to make this roster at this point. Fiondu Kabengele looking like a key addition now as well. He will definitely factor into that role early in the season, particularly if he has a strong training camp, a strong preseason as well, would put him in good position to defend, shoot some threes, shoot some shots around the rim and the pick and roll. I think he's in a very strong position right now to eat up some of those minutes with his size and versatility that he showed during Summer League. As far as veterans go, interesting move by the team today, reported by Shams. Bruno Caboclo released, was supposed to be in there on an Exhibit 10 tryout deal for training camp, and his release ahead of camp. Given that the Celtics have a 20-person limit, 20-player limit heading into camp, I'd imagine that with Broderick Thomas, Mass Live reporting that he was probably going to be that 20th and final roster spot after the signings of Layman, Jackson, and Valentine. This is probably to create a roster spot to go out and find an additional front court player. I can't think of any other reason why the team would release Caboclo before even getting him on the floor, unless there's some issue with him at this point. So we'll find out more on him as well. We'll discuss Williams' injury. Certainly worrisome one as this season gets underway. Danilo Gallinari already tearing his ACL. And now Robert Williams apparently suffering a small tear in that left knee that had already undergone a meniscus removal surgery on back in March. Is this an additional tear to that meniscus? We'll find that out in short order here. Of course, we're brought to you by Athletic Greens, athleticgreens.com/garden. Gets you 5 free travel packs of athletic greens, 75 vitamins, minerals, adaptogens, as well as probiotics, immune-supporting vitamin D in one scoop in your water each morning. It's easy, tastes good, highly rated. People love this product. And, of course, 5 travel packs, as well as a year's supply of vitamin D when you go to athleticgreens.com/garden. Of course, you can also email that receipt to @John_Zanis and get a phenomenal t-shirt. Calm.com, our other sponsor, love them. Night sleep sounds, going to sleep. Bedtime stories, adults, children, both love those. And meditation in the morning, a midday calm of the day, Josue loves those. They have a little bit of everything, and you can get 40% off their entire library by going to calm.com/garden. Helps out Garden Report, CLNS Media quite a bit as we get our coverage underway this season. Media Day on Monday, and training camp underway on Tuesday. Robert Williams will not be participating in training camp, preseason, or the early portion of the regular season. It appears undergoing this week a left knee arthroscopic surgery, as was first reported by Heavy's Sean Deveney. And we'll try to learn more about this as the week goes on, talk about what the implications are in the Celtics season. It's not great. And several of our Garden Report analysts will be live tonight. So join us around 8:30, I believe, is when we'll be getting going. I'm Bobby Manning for the Garden Report, CLNS Media. Talk to you later tonight.